Iskandar stared into space, as if remembering something from long ago. They are hard to resist. You speak perfect English, I noticed. Iskandar smiled. How do you know I'm speaking English? Perhaps you are speaking Greek. I hoped he was kidding, but I couldn't tell. He seemed so frail and warm, and yet it was like sitting next to a nuclear reactor. I had the feeling he was full of more danger than I wanted to know. You're not really that old, are you? I asked. I mean, old enough to remember Ptolemaic times? I am exactly that old, my dear. I was born in the reign of Cleopatra the Seventh. Oh, please! I assure you, it's true. It was my sorrow to behold the last days of Egypt, before that foolhardy queen lost our kingdom to the Romans. I was the last magician to be trained before the house went underground. Many of our most powerful secrets were lost, including the spells that my master used to extend my life. Magicians these days still live long, sometimes centuries, but I have been alive for 2 millennia. So you're immortal? His chuckle turned into a racking cough. He doubled over and cupped his hands over his mouth. I wanted to help, but I wasn't sure how. The glowing hieroglyphics flickered and dimmed around him. Finally, the coughing subsided. He took a shaky breath. Hardly immortal, my dear. In fact, his voice trailed off. But never mind that. What did you see in your vision? I probably should have kept quiet. I didn't want to be turned into a bug for breaking any rules, and the vision had terrified me, especially the moment when I changed into the bird of prey. But Iskandar's kindly expression made it hard to hold back. I ended up telling him everything. Well, almost everything. I left out the bit about the good-looking boy, and yes, I know it was silly, but I was embarrassed. I reckon that part could have been my own crazed imagination at work, as ancient Egyptian gods could not have been that gorgeous. Iskandar sat for a moment, tapping his staff against the steps. You saw a very old event, Sadie. Set taking the throne of Egypt by force. He hid Osiris's coffin, you know, and Isis searched the entire world to find it. She got him back eventually? Not exactly. Osiris was resurrected, but only in the underworld. He became the king of the dead. When their son, Horus, grew up, Horus challenged Set for the throne of Egypt and won after many hard battles. That's why Horus is called the Avenger. As I said, it's an old story, but one that the gods have repeated many times in our history. Repeated? The gods follow patterns. In some ways they're quite predictable, acting out the same squabbles, the same jealousies down through the ages. Only the settings change, and the hosts. There was that word again. Hosts. I thought about the poor woman in the New York Museum who turned into the goddess Serket. In my vision, I said, Isis and Osiris were married. Horus was about to be born as their son. But in another story Carter told me, all 3 of them were siblings, children of the sky goddesses. Yes, Iskandar agreed. This can be confusing for those who do not know the nature of the gods. They cannot walk the earth in their pure form, at least not for more than a few moments. They must have hosts. Humans, you mean? Or powerful objects, such as statues, amulets, monuments, certain models of cars. But they prefer human form. You see, gods have great power, but only humans have creativity, the power to change history rather than simply repeat it. Humans can, how do you moderns say it, think outside the cup. The box, I said? Yes. The combination of human creativity and godly power can be quite formidable. At any rate, when Osiris and Isis first walked the earth, their hosts were brother and sister. But mortal hosts are not permanent. They die. They wear out. Later in history, Osiris and Isis took on new forms, humans who were husband and wife. Horus, who in one lifetime was their brother, was born into a new life as their son.